All Sports Central will be going over a college football game preview. This one's going to be over Alabama and Texas A&M. Both of these teams coming into this game are looking pretty good. Of course, Texas A&M has had an absolutely brutal schedule. They've already got 2 losses. They've played Clemson. Of course, Clemson being the team that they are, that was a tough game, and they've just played a really tough schedule. And this is just continuing on that stretch. This is going to be the second number 1 ranked team that they've played so far this season. But can they finally catch a break here? Can Texas A&M pull an upset? Is what we're going over here today. Your last game for both these teams was on September 28th. So both of these teams have had a bye last week. Alabama beat Ole Miss 59-31 on September 28th. Meanwhile, Texas A&M had a close one against Arkansas 31-27. But for Texas A&M, if they could get some rest and hopefully be able to compete with Alabama here in this one. 31-27 against Arkansas is not really a score that you want to have. But Alabama continues to be dominant. Put up 59 against Ole Miss. That is excellent. But yeah, 31 points allowed against Ole Miss, though, is something that you kind of have to consider there. 31 points to a team like Ole Miss is not something that you want to have. Tagovailoa for Alabama, 26 for 36, 418 yards, and 6 touchdowns in the win there against Ole Miss. That's a rare sight to see when you've got 6 touchdowns out of a quarterback in one game. Kellen Mond for Texas A&M, 23 for 35, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, so really not all that bad there either. This game is going to be on the 12th of October, 2:30 p.m. Central, and the spread currently says Alabama by 17. So, that's kind of expected. Of course, with Texas A&M having 2 losses, Alabama is heavily favored here in this one. The FPI is saying more of the same, 83% chance of them winning it, and Vegas is saying 45-20 Alabama as well. Here's their stat comparison for this one. Alabama currently has 51.8 points per game on average right now out of their first 5 weeks. And that is an excellent stat to have above 50 points per game so far. That's definitely something that you got to watch out for, something that's very impressive. 14.8 points allowed per game. Of course, it's not the best, but it's not the worst at all. Pass yards per game, they've got 380 right now and 174 rush yards as well. 325 yards allowed per game as well for this Alabama team right now. They are 5-0. Texas A&M has committed 32.8 points per game so far, and then they've got 17.8 points allowed per game as well. So this offense, of course, having only 32 points per game, granted, they have played a very difficult schedule, so that is something you got to keep in mind there. Much tougher than most teams have played. But yeah, 17.8 points allowed per game, 292 pass yards, 133 rush yards per game, and then 299 yards allowed. And so kind of looking at that, Alabama has allowed more yards per game, but then again, Texas A&M has allowed more points otherwise, so you got to kind of consider that there as well. The last 5 games for both of these teams, Alabama played Ole Miss once again, beat them 59-31, beat Southern Miss at home 49-7, beat South Carolina on the road 47-23, beat New Mexico State 62-10 as they should have, and then beat Duke 42-3. Texas A&M beat Arkansas 31-27. They lost to Auburn 20-28. Beat up Lamar 62-3. Lost to Clemson 10-24. Then beat Texas State 41-7. And so, of course, kind of looking at that, Texas A&M's already played 3 conference games. Well, Clemson's not a conference game, but they're as tough as a conference game. But yeah, this Alabama game here just kind of adds to Texas A&M's very, very difficult resume. And if they could just pull off a win here, that would be huge for this program, huge for this season. But once again, Alabama is just on a roll right now. And I think honestly, if they don't play, if their defense doesn't play the way that they did against Ole Miss, this is going to be a very tough game for Texas A&M. Few key points: Alabama continues to roll. We just talked about that. Texas A&M has 2 losses already. But is Texas A&M a real team? Is the question that we need to be asking ourselves. Of course, Texas A&M. They're lowly ranked in the rankings right now, and they're somehow still ranked with 2 losses right now. But is this team for real? I think this game is going to, this game's going to tell for sure whether Texas A&M is for real or not. If it's close, Texas A&M could be a real team. But if it is a blowout, like it could be, Alabama, I think Texas A&M is going to just have a difficult season. We've seen them do very well in the past. They were expected to be pretty good this season. Of course, they were returning a ton of talent with Jimbo Fisher coming back as well. But this has just been a tough year for this Texas A&M team. But how would both teams win here? I think if Alabama can go in to Texas A&M and if they can get up early, if they can shut down Texas A&M's offense early, that would be a big way that they can get a win here. I think if they can score a good 7 to 14 points or a good 1 or 2 touchdowns early on in this match, I think that Alabama should be able to control this game pretty well. But how important is this game in the long run? Of course, both of these teams are in the same division. So, I mean, if Texas A&M has any chance of making like an SEC championship game, pulling off a crazy upset there, they have to win this game no matter what. I mean, you can't take another loss here this early on in the season. But for Alabama, then I think if you can get this win here, that would be huge for your college football playoff resume to get a win on the road against Texas A&M. It would be huge for this Alabama team. It'd be huge for both teams for that matter. But here's what I expect in this one. I think Alabama starts off really quickly. They lead at halftime 17-7. But your final score 38-21. I think Alabama ends up winning this one by 17, as the spread says. I think they win it by 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And I think, Texas A&M will likely keep it close during the first quarter. But I think in the second quarter, Alabama starts to pull away a little bit. And in the final, I think in the second half, Alabama really pulls away. And they end up winning this one by a good margin. I think Alabama looks very impressive here in this game. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this game in the comments below. If you think Texas A&M can pull an upset, be sure to let me know your score prediction. I'd like to get back to most of you guys. I will likely be able to do that. Once again, thank you guys all for watching. Stay tuned.